All right, thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on the front page of Nigerian newspapers. And I begin with the Daily Trust. The major story here, Israel-Palestine conflict, how attacks on Al-Aqsa Mosque, others triggered crisis. And experts flay Israel's occupying power. Palestinian envoy wants Israel forced to obey international laws. Israeli ambassador fingers Iran as U.S. offers warships, aircraft. AU, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, others urge ceasefire as death toll hits 1,000. And you see a picture of the mosque, the Al-Aqsa mosque that was attacked by Israelis, and then Palestinians inspect a mosque destroyed in Israeli strike in southern Gaza Strip. All right, another story here at the top corner. Bayelsa Imo Kogi polls. These are the off-cycle polls. Spate of violence, insecurity, worrisome. INEC is speaking because we have already started witnessing some security challenges in some of this state, and INEC is concerned that there might be voter apathy on the days of this election, talking about the elections are expected to come up in November. And then Pengerson confirms return of fuel subsidy. Right. This conversation has been on for some time now about a return of fuel subsidy, but floods destroy houses, farms in Taraba, Adamawa residents seek help. Floods destroys houses, farms in Taraba, Adamawa residents seek help. All of the details on the front page of the Daily Trust. To the Leadership newspaper now. The Federal Road Safety Corps, that's at the top corner there, says road traffic crash deaths has reduced by 23.1%. Tinubu snubs Niger coup leaders' overtures for direct talks. And the major story here, 1,591 students, 61 corps members abducted in 8 years. Experts call for surveillance cameras in schools. Terrorists kill 10, abduct many in fresh Zamfara attack. A concerning development there. Senate reps at war over NDDC board management. It is 7.4 trillion naira national debt. Stockholders frown at excessive borrowing. Right. Afghan earthquake killed 2,445 persons. Kogi 2023, don't follow strangers. Tinubu is speaking. Israel-Hamas attacks. Pope urges end to hostilities. All right, all the details on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. To the Nation newspaper now. Federal government targets 5 million jobs in 5 years for youth. And the statement is coming through Better Edu. She says scheme will be efficient. Atakuta still to employ 500,000. Team of firm 98% ready. And another story here, why banks should follow rules in granting loans to government. Another story here, 1,000 killed in 2 days of Israeli-Palestinian Middle East war. Egypt-Turkey moved to de-escalate crisis. And at the top corner, governor seeks the dredging of River Niger, Benue to halt flooding. A speaker sets performance benchmark for Lagos councils. Eminent industrialist Chris Ogunbanjo dies at 99. May his soul rest in peace. And we move now to the Daily Sun. Tinubu Atiku fight hard over Chicago State University FBI files. President's Chicago lawyer hits ex-vice president, says he's chasing shadows. And government planning to gag media ahead of release of investigative files. Atiku is speaking. Well, federal government are crossroads over rising cost of petrol, subsidy mandatory. Pengerson is reacting. Imo Bayelsa Kogi polls. INEC laments insecurity, violence, ungathered utterances. That's what INEC is saying with regards to the upcoming polls in November. And another story here. Guba, why APC must retain Kogi. Tinubu governor speaking. Party receives defectors from opposition. Serap wants court to stop Akpabio others from collecting salaries, pensions as senators. Afghan earthquake killed 2,053 persons. Death toll rises. 9,240 injured. 1,320 houses destroyed. Electricity Act 2023, 7 million unmetered customers risk disconnection. And they're still talking about this Israel-Hamas war escalates, casualties skyrocket. Humanitarian service, that's the story at the top corner. Scheme under my watch won't be business as usual. Minister is speaking. Better Edu is the one speaking there. Says anxiety as federal government suspends NPower scheme begins audit. And to the front page of the First News newspaper now, Atiku tackles presidency over Tinubu's certificate saga. That's the major story here. Some writers accuses federal government of twisting facts to confuse public. Prove your allegations. Find vendor who issued Tinubu's certificate, Kiyamu tells Atiku. I am shocked Atiku went this far on Tinubu. MKO Abiola's son is speaking. And another story here. Pengason confirms return of fuel subsidy under Tinubu as ex-minister Dalong accuses president of falling prey to subsidy racketeers. All right. You find the details on the front page. And the U.S. deploys ships, munitions closer to Israel as death toll rises to 1,000 in Israel-Gaza war. Another story here. 4 die, 4 injured in Kaduna bandits attack. Ogunbanjo's legacy will endure. Tinubu eulogizes late legal luminary. Federal government raises NPower age enrollment to 40 years. Targets 5 million youths for employment in 5 years. Another story at the top corner by Elsa Guba. APC cracks widening as Diri romances Lukbobiri Lion. Another story here. Serap sues Akpabio, other ex-governors in Senate for collecting salaries, pensions. Tinubu's government planning to gag media ahead release of FBI files, Atiku's aide alleges. Parties yet to submit full list of agents for Bayelsa Imo Kogi Guba polls. INEC is speaking ahead of the November off-cycle governorship elections. Mobat's death. No evidence of Naira Marley's involvement, council says. And to the front page of the Daily Times. The major story here says, remove Tinubu as president, no further evidence required, Atiku tells Supreme Court. Says, forged certificate to INEC, weighty constitutional matter. Cites Apex Court judgments on forged certificate, 20-paragraph affidavit deposed in support of appeal. Now, another story here. Wike ignores court orders, demolishes multi-billion naira property near Gbadabia Miller's residence. Crisis looms in Imo community over land seizure by government's agent. Obaro Benin introduces 1 month fasting to traditional festival. All right, interesting one there. And to this Nigeria newspaper now, troops eliminate 31 terrorists, apprehend 81 in 1 week. The defense headquarters is speaking as bandits kill 4, injure 4 others, abandon 5 kidnap victims in Kaduna community. And here is a picture where the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, in the middle, is standing listening to a point from the chairman of Lagos State Football Association, Honorable Fuadoki, third on the right, during an inspection of flooded areas in Lagos Island yesterday. Indeed, Lagos witnessed some level of flash floods across the state when it rained yesterday. Now, another story. 20 million out-of-school population, big threat to Nigeria's development. Tech experts lament. 20 million out-of-school population, big threat to Nigeria's development. Tech experts lament. And NDLEA nabbed a 67-year-old at Abuja airport for ingesting 100 wraps of cocaine. How did he do that? And then Abuja is safest in Nigeria, FCTCP replies critics. Stop ex-governors in Senate from receiving double salaries, allowances. Serap is telling a court to do something about that. All right. And here now, on the front page of the blueprint, FRSC, as the Federal Road Safety Corps, reduces road traffic crash deaths by 23.1% in 9 months. Records 21.3% decrease in injuries, 22% reduction in road crashes. Figures represent improvement over 2022. and CM promises further improvements. And another story on the corner here, we suspended Empower program for proper auditing, federal government explains. And there are those who question why the government had to wait up until this time to audit this program. Another story, terrorists kill 10, abduct several others in fresh attacks. UBA said to empower KDs. All right, that's the story you find there. Chicago State University, Atiku's fresh evidence not encouraged at Supreme Court. Eroko, a senior advocate of Nigeria, is speaking, says rule admitting new evidence stringent but not hidden. And quickly at the top corner here, Tinubu pledges 500,000 jobs as Ajakuta Steel nears completion. Customs intercepts 1.8 billion naira cars, trailers of foreign rice. INEC to parties. Portal for upload of post agents will close October the 10th. This is the same complaint INEC had during the presidential election, how parties were not uploading necessary information of their agents, and now it's repeating itself ahead of the off-cycle elections coming up in November. All right, we hope that parties will do the needful as quickly as possible before October the 10th. Ibrahim.
Absolutely. Let me quickly breeze through some of the papers that I have with me here. The National Economy is the first one, where we have the screaming headline with Kika dogged by $9 billion annual loss. Again, Nigeria risks massive flooding. And the writers read, as government foot drags on mitigation measures, crisis may worsen food insecurity. That's the experts talking there. And at the bottom strip, we've got concerns over slow pace of industrialization among SMEs. That's on the page 21 of the National Economy. Next is Nigeria News Direct. Lagdo Dam, flooding threatens food output in 8 states as NEMA calls on states to activate emergency response plans. Governor Abdulrazak seeks immediate dredging of River Niger to avert losses. And above the nameplate, Imo Kogi Bayelsa polls, INEC fears fate of election over rising insecurity. On the year of the newspaper, bandits kill 4 in Kaduna, injure others. Lower here on the bottom strip, we've got Serap files suit to halt collection of salaries, pensions by former governors. That has been an issue of concern by Serap and other CSOs. Moving on to other page is the Abuja Inquirer. FCTA residents tussle over Berger Park construction. FCTA residents tussle over Berger Park construction. It distorts Abuja master plan as residents, and not true. FCTA fires back. That's on the front page of the Abuja Inquirer. And above the nameplate, NDLEA arrest man 67 who ingested 100 wraps of cocaine in Abuja. And I also wonder how that was done by this so-called man that ingested 100 wraps of cocaine in Abuja. Moving on to other page is other newspaper is Daily Independent. Technology, insider abuse, fraud enablers in banks. Technology, insider abuse, fraud enablers in banks. That's a cause for concern. Beer prices bubbling up from this week. That's on the page 6 of the Daily Independent. And also, Tinubu administration will harness Kogi natural resources. That's Vice President Kashim Shettima there. INEC worries over violence ahead Bayelsa, Imo, Kogi, global polls. Says no deadline extension for upload of polling agents after October the 10th. That's on the front page of the Daily Independent newspaper. Next is Business Day newspaper. Nigerians await Obaze's report on CBN, Tinubu's action. And above the nameplate, pricing turns cement makers new battleground. Pricing turns cement makers new battleground. We also have Wema Bank. Okay. So that's essentially what we have on the front page of the Business Day newspaper. Next is the Punch newspaper. CBN investigator probes banks over 1.27 trillion naira intervention funds. And the riders read 1.27 trillion naira, anchor borrowers loans, others undisbursed in 5 banks. Special investigator to summon bank CEOs over intervention funds. Below the picture that we have on the front page, where we have this reading, Sanwo-Olu orders demolition of markets built on drainage. And below the on the bottom strip here, we have federal government to grill N-Power. Consultants plans 5 million jobs. Consultants plans 5 million jobs. Road crashes deaths dropped by 1,118. That's according to the FRC. And PENCOM DG saying that pension in 2.4 trillion naira deficit before reforms. Above the nameplate here, JAPA, federal government okays contract jobs for retired doctors. That's on the above the nameplate of the Punch newspaper. And the government, Labour begin talks over 35,000 naira wage award. And let me move on to the last but not least, which is the Guardian newspaper. War in Middle East may spiral, push monthly petrol subsidy to 644.8 billion naira. We're still reading from the Russia-Ukraine war, which is affecting the price of wheat, etc., and even the price of global crude prices. We're now having another one in the Middle East, which is going on between the Israel and Palestinian conflict. Well, moving on. Atiku Keyamo trade words over Tinubu's Chicago certificate. That's our topic later on the show this morning. And we've got executes on below the pictures that we have here. We've got Tinubu pledges 500,000 jobs as Ajaokuta Steel nears completion. We're looking forward to that. And Naira dip pushes loan book value of 8 banks to 30 trillion naira. And last but not least, on the front page of the Guardian newspaper is execute one project every quarter. Lagos Speaker tells council chairman, execute one project every quarter. Lagos Speaker tells council chairman. It's very important, Veronica, that they are able to execute projects, based on, just select projects that they want to execute, not doing everything, in piecemeal without having to have a logical conclusion on, the projects that are being selected by some of these
Absolutely. So that people can feel the impact of government at the end of the day, since they are the closest to the people.